Do you remember who taught you how to tie your shoelaces? Do you remember who or how you learned to cross the street safely? Some of you may have to go back a little more time to regain those memories. If you're as old as I am, you may have to, but I'd venture to guess that many of you may not remember. And why should you? Are those things you need to have at the forefront of your head to get through everyday life? Some things you do, but luckily our brains do all that work for us every day. Tying our laces and looking both ways before we cross any street is something that we do automatically. I mean, think about this. You don't have to call your mom every day, right? If she was the one who taught you to cross the street, you don't have to call her every time you cross any street and say, "Hey, Mom, just cross the street safely. Again, thank you." Some mothers would block your number if you did that, by the way. Hello, everyone, and welcome to 10,000 Tacos. I'm Isidro Salas, and thank you for joining us on this challenging time, to say the least, during this pandemic, during these festive times that under normal times we'd be doing a lot more other things. But I hope everyone is doing their best to stay safe while trying to navigate this treacherous holiday season. So real quick, who here makes tamales? Oh, well, people from Denmark right now, they're raising their hand. I'm kidding. I'm saying Denmark because they're, every time I publish an episode, we get about a handful of downloads from Denmark, and I'm going, that's cool. Are there Mexicans in Denmark? I don't know. Anyway, that's why I thought I said that. But anyway, many families as we speak are doing just that. Someone is washing the corn husks, right? While others, the more experienced ones, may be preparing the meat. And yet, others are just making the masa, right? Making the masa. And by the way, again, it's just masa. It's not masa dough. Again, I have to reiterate that because some people, oh, look, masa dough. Anyway, let's go back to... But eventually, some may be even getting a promotion this year. They may have been cleaning the husks last year and for previous year, but now they have gotten promoted and they are now getting ready to be the spreader, right? Where you put the husk and you get the spoon and the masa and you start spreading. That's a big promotion, by the way. But this year, many will be doing that for the first time. And for others, this may be the year that some of those traditions may be coming to an end. Sadly, where certain family members leave us, and as they do, they make these traditions less likely to happen, and they take them with them. Sadly, this tamale season, for many families, may be described as awful. Because you just can't get together. Many can't celebrate. And it's a very challenging time. And simply put, it just sucks that for many of us, we are in this situation. But I believe it's an opportunity to find ways to try and get through it. And I want to give some of that to you today. I want to take this time to tell you when I was a little kid and the first time I ever got to make tamales. Because it's still with me today. Even though I don't make them, those memories are with me today, and they're helping me get through this holiday season. And I hope that it could help you. One of my earliest memories when I started making a life here some 40 years ago is when I was helping my mom. And I was helping her to make tamales for the first time. One of my earliest memories, I was probably like 8 years old. And we were there in the kitchen where we lived at. So I recall on this day taking a smaller sized husk, the corn husk, and filling it myself with the masa, spreading it on the husk the same way my mother was doing, then spooning a little bit of the meat in the middle. And when I finished that, then I just remember starting to fold it in, one first, left side, and then the right side, and then the tip of it over both of those sides. And it looked like the one just exactly the way she was doing it, but it was a little bit smaller. It was probably half the size of the one she was making. Now I remember giving this back to her, this little thing, and I remember holding it with both hands because I thought it was very delicate and special to me. And if you ever watch people make tamales, once they fold them and they're starting to put them into the pot, they're handling it with as it is precious cargo, because at that point the masa, it hasn't settled. So then I remember her taking mine from my hands delicately, inserting it around the larger sized ones that she had already put in the olla, but mine was close to the edge of this big old olla so that it'd be easily retracted, I guess, when she pulled it out. And this was a huge olla. I just remember that this pot was huge because we were going to make a lot of them. Then what seemed to be like several days, because of course when you're a kid, time takes forever, but it was more like 3 or 4 hours. I went back into the kitchen to wait for my mother to pop open the lid. I really didn't care about the rest of the tamales. I just wanted to see how mine, the one that I had made, had turned out. And when she picked it out of the pot, I was like, my eyes were really, I just remember my eyes being wide open because I had this anticipation. And she pulls out my little tamal, and it just felt like this was the best gift I had ever received. And she put it in my little hands. I, was holding it delicately because it was still very, very hot, but in anticipation, I was kind of trying to open it, one side at a time. And when I looked inside, it seemed to have cooked perfectly, just like the ones that she had made. I just remember feeling so good about what I had just done. And though I was really young, I felt really, really good looking at my tamal. This little thing I had done Obama style. What is Obama style, you might ask? Well, let's just say I was so proud because I had made this tamal all by myself. Get it? Obama, yeah. I have 2 shows, one at 7. Please tip your waiter. No, anyway, you could tell. Let's give that up, Asicho. Let's stick to podcasting, right? But getting back to it, obviously, it's hard to connect the dots when you're going through it. You could only connect the dots when you look back. This moment was a time I was not just bonding with my mother, I was emulating her. I was copying every little thing that she was doing because I wanted mine to come out just as good as hers. That moment, I wanted to be just like her. I looked up to her, literally. As she was making the tamales, I was a little kid. I was looking up to her, but look at how that sounds. Looking up at her. Looking up to my mother. Tamales season is steeped with traditions. And it's Christmas and it's the holidays and whatever you or however you celebrate these years. Just remember one thing. Do yourself a favor. You cannot drink from an empty cup. You have to take care of yourself first before you help others. Helping others makes people feel good, makes me feel good. But you can't do that unless you take care of yourself. So as a Christmas present, to me, your health would be the greatest gift that you could give me. Thanks again for joining us. I am the proud son of a taquero, and this is 10,000 tacos.